Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inspiration for the Soul, and I am Israel. I would like to speak with us today on the topic of women and the strength of women. Now, we have often heard the story of Samson and Delilah and the story of Adam and Eve, where in the Adam and Eve story, it was said that the serpent approached Eve and got Eve to eat of the apple that the Lord told them not to eat of, and that she convinced her husband to also eat of that apple. And so, because of the interpretation of those stories, it was said that women are the weakest sex and that women are more susceptible to deception. And also because of the Delilah story, where it was said that the enemy got Delilah to cause Samson to tell her his secret because the enemy could not have gotten it any other way. And so, because of that story, we're told that women are wicked. And so, because of these stories, women and the interpretation of these stories and what we have been told by as women, we do not understand the power and the strength that we possess as women. And so, therefore, I would like to posit a different interpretation. And it is an interpretation that we can see in nature, because nature is one that will always speak the truth. When you look at nature, you will understand what is. When we look at the composition of nature and how human beings and animals and all the elements of nature interact with each other, we will understand the elements of life and the truth of life. And so the fact is, when we look at nature, anything, anything that must be birthed by a woman. It must be by a woman. And so, what the stories are in effect saying is that anything that must enter the earthly realm, it must enter through the consent of a woman. When God Himself wanted to enter the earthly realm, He had to enter through a woman. And so, anything at all, the devil is not a fool. And for the devil to approach Eve, the devil understands the simple concept that if you want to corrupt a nation, you corrupt the woman. If you corrupt the woman, you corrupt her children, you corrupt her household, and her husband included. Because at the end of the day, the women are in fact the gatekeepers of life. We are the gatekeepers of morality. And therefore, as women, we must understand our power. If we want to change our nation, if we want to change the world, then we start by understanding the power that we possess. It is often said that behind every successful man there is a very strong woman, and I will go as far as to posit this view that behind every successful economy, behind every successful nation, there are very strong and very spiritually grounded women. And therefore, what is happening now in our society is that we are losing morality. We are losing the fight on pain and hurt in our society. And I will bring you to the story of Rahab. When the children of Israel wanted to enter into Jericho, it was Rahab that brought them in and that hid them and that caused them to do their first survey. And therefore, what we have to understand is the role of women through centuries, the role of women and the power that women possess. It is not that we are wicked, it is not that we are the weaker sex, but in fact, it is showing our power. And therefore, when immorality wants to enter into our society, immorality cannot stand. Immorality cannot survive if women do not allow it to do so. And therefore, we have to shut down the portals of hurt. We have to shut down the portals of immorality. And it begins by each woman understanding that the mate in which you choose to have your children with, the mate in which you choose to enter into a relationship, will always leave a seed. It does not necessarily always have to be a child, but every interaction that we enter into as women, it leaves a seed, whether a seed of hurt, a seed of confusion, the seed of depression, and this is brought forth unto our children and unto those who are in our immediate surrounding, and it spreads. And therefore, because women are more spiritual, you find that our emotions travel. It affects all that come in contact with us. And therefore, it is our responsibility as women to create a new world that we want to see. And in order to do that, we must shut down the portals of hurt. Do not allow anyone into your life and into your space who will not respect your womanhood. Do not do anything that will undermine your womanhood, because at the end of the day, we are the gatekeepers of morality and we are the gatekeepers of life. I am Israel, and this is Inspiration for the Soul, and I wish you love.